Controller and Auditor General. 900 Chadema candidates disqualified from contesting the local government election in Nyamagana. And in sports, Yanga sacks coach Mwinyi Zahera and his assistants and names Boniface Mkwasa as the interim coach. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get started with the national news. The Controller and Auditor General, Charles Kichere, said he will perform his responsibilities by adhering to the law, regulations and procedures and ensure funds allocated by the government for various development projects are utilized accordingly. CAG Kichere made this statement in Dar es Salaam during the handover of the office to him from the former Controller and Auditor General, Professor Musa Assad, who has completed his 5-year tenure.
I know how challenging revenue collection is. I will protect revenue closely. I will report those who misuse government revenue, so right measures can be taken against them. I'll also contribute towards controls so things can run smoothly. Today, it is handover. I thank the professor. I like to plant, see my crop mature and harvest. I take pride in that. 2 months ago, I started to invest a lot in agriculture, so I hope to go back and farm. If I'm needed in town, they will call me. So farming is what I want to do.
The national chairman of Chama cha Demokrasia na Maendeleo Chadema, Freeman Mbowe, has told Kisutu Resident Magistrate Court that the police were the ones who killed the student from the National Institute of Transport, Aquilina Aquilini, after firing bullets of Kinondoni constituency. Mbowe made the statement when giving his evidence before Principal Magistrate Thomas Simba. He said he was sure on the cause of the student's death due to various reasons, which include reports given by the Police Command of Dar es Salaam Special Police Zone that there are some police officers who are suspected of firing bullets. He also said that he and other leaders of the party who are facing the court's charges were not present at the meeting they alleged to have attended and to have opposed a directive to disperse from gathering which was given by the police. And more than 900 candidates vying for local government leadership positions in Nyamagana district, Mwanza region on the Chadema ticket have been disqualified from contesting the local government election, while in Ilemela district, which has 171 seats only, 2 candidates from the party will take part in the election to be held on the 24th of November.
This is not right. In Ukerewe, the district commissioner is giving us a hard time. He is making arrests. At the end of the day, Minister Jaffo has instructed that local government offices must remain open so candidates could get forms, but this is not the case. We're not in agreement with the supervisor's decision to disqualify our candidates because forms were not made available, and we've not been given any reason why this is the case. There is no democracy.
The Minister of State in the President's Office for Regional Administration and Local Government, Suleiman Jaffo, has directed leaders and supervisors of appeal committees for the local government election to assess petitions submitted and to return candidates once it has been discovered they were wrongly disqualified. The Minister's statement comes following complaints from some candidates of opposition parties who claim to have been unfairly disqualified from contesting the local government election.
Kikubwa zaidi nilipata malalamiko kutoka baadhi mengine, kwa mfano kuna maeneo mengine nasema kama kuna wakati mwingine fomu hazidani.
I received some complaints that in some areas offices were opened late. I decided to deploy a team of people to go there and make sure everyone gets their fundamental right to pick a form and bring it back. I have faith that things went as intended, and if there are any challenges, I will address them as received. Everyone has a right to a referral so that he can be heard and given his right.
And residents from various villages in Handeni district, Tanga region, have called on the government to rehabilitate rural roads which have been damaged by rain. This comes after measures taken by the government to repair roads leading to the district which had been badly damaged by floods.
As you can see, there is a bridge over there which is damaged, so people cannot cross over. We've decided to help the government by making a makeshift bridge. This is very difficult for expectant mothers, children, and the sick.
Tanzania Ports Authority TPA said it will ensure it provides services to member countries of the Southern African Development Community SADC by using innovative ICT systems in order to be competitive. This was said in Dar es Salaam by the Director General of TPA, Engineer Deusdedit Kakoko, during the International Forum on Development in the Transportation Sector. On his part, the CEO of Dar es Salaam Rapid Transport, DART, Engineer Ronald Rakatare, said that the government intends to start using the card system to purchase tickets.
We are not at a place where we can help our people 100%. Competition is not that much because the market is still big and have not served it well to be able to incur low costs. So we're getting ready to be competitive and enter into new markets, and through technology, someone could access us through a mobile phone. So just by using a mobile phone, you can be issued with a barcode. We hope that this should be in use by next year.
And the government has tabled in Parliament the proposed National Development Plan and guidelines of the budget for the 2020-2021 financial year, in which it proposes a budget of 34 trillion shillings from 33 trillion in the current 2019-2020 financial year.
Pili ni kufungamanisha ukuaji wa uchumi na maendeleo ya watu.
The government will continue to focus on making education accessible in social services, health, including making medication more accessible, as well as medical equipment, availability of clean and safe water in urban and rural areas, environmental conservation, and addressing the effects of climate change, good governance, which includes the general election in 2020, and free basic education, but also access to loans in higher learning. More should be invested towards agriculture so that more Tanzanians benefit. Today, the government has given so much preference to aviation and energy, but focus should also be in areas that affect people the most. More should be invested towards infrastructure so as to grow our economy. This will help us a lot because now we are moving towards an industrialized economy.
The Minister of Energy, Dr. Medet Kalemani, has refused to extend construction duration to KEC International Company, who are building the 600-megawatt power generation station at Zuzu area in Dodoma, and directed the company to hand over the project on January 2020 as stipulated in the contract. Minister Kalemani gave the directive after visiting the construction project, which is expected to increase power generation in Dodoma, Singida, and neighboring areas.
The engineer had a contract for 16 months and should finish by January next year. So I was making a follow-up so that this project can be completed sooner. The engineer made a request for 3 extra months, of which I declined. He must finish by January the 28th, as the contract stipulates.
It's already dispatched.
The delay is not mainly.
When were they dispatched from?
It is dispatched in September. They are in ships.
September, we are in November, 2 months.
Yeah, they are.
Hatuwezi kukubali. Mimi nataka kama vifaa vinapatikana vya hapa, vitumike vya hapa.
That's all for national news. International news is next. And in international news, police used tear gas to disperse protesters outside the Integrity Center on Tuesday, moments before Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko arrived at anti-graft agency offices for questioning. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, investigators summoned Sonko last week for allegedly lying in his self-declaration form when he sought clearance to contest for governorship.
That this is the same case that was raised bila Wanja Makadara parliamentary by election. Nikapelekwa Kibera court. Yeah, I was arraigned in court, and then I was remanded in custody because the prosecution will object my release on bail because I had a conviction. But the issue here, it is to remove me from office because of my position, my stand to fight corruption kwa niaba ya wananchi wa Jamhuri ya Kenya.
The Education and Sports Parliamentary Committee in Uganda started investigation on the student unrest at Makerere University, which led to the expulsion of students accused of participating in the strike. Members of Parliament want the university to rescind the suspension and expulsion of students and called for democratic ways of resolving the conflict.
I will tell you that 5 people
who are now on suspension were suspended because of complaints they made about the increase in tuition fees on Twitter. We do not know where to go in search of justice at Makerere University.
As of 2018-19, the increase was by 15% plus the original fees.
Students serving jail sentences in Rwanda have sat for the Standard 6 and Form 3 national examinations following a pardon given by President Paul Kagame. This is the 4th phase of imprisoned students to sit for the national examinations, which started yesterday and will end tomorrow. I am prepared for these exams because the teachers taught us well and prepared us. We have no worries and are sure that we will pass by a significant percentage. It is true that studying while in prison is no easy task, but we thank the government and especially our president for the opportunity he gave us. We feel no different from others. This is the 4th year since this plan began. These students are doing very well in their exams. Many get Division 1, and we want them to continue to perform well as they usually do. Members of Parliament in North Kivu, the Democratic Republic of Congo, have called off military forces from Rwanda, Uganda and Burundi to collaborate in the operations against rebels in the eastern parts of the country who have been causing instability.
We
oppose the coming of foreign armies such as from Uganda, Rwanda and Burundi to come help DRC citizens and the DRC army. When armies from foreign countries come here as a united force, incident occurred, many women were raped, and even DRC resources were stolen and taken back to those foreign countries. That's where we leave off with international news. We'll be back with business news after this break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
To be rich, I have to be a business person.
It's not an easy road at all.
People need to understand.
You must quickly think, how cost effective are you going to be?
Business acts as a way in which it can bridge that gap.
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction, and so much more. Meet entrepreneurs who create employment opportunities. Watch Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Thank you for staying with us and in business news. Price inflation in Zanzibar has continued to increase, whereby in October it grew by 2.4%, up from 2.2% recorded in the month of September this year. The head of Price Department from the Statistics Office in the Isles, Kamis Abdurrahman Msham, said this has been contributed to by increase in food and non-alcoholic beverage prices. The annual inflation rate has led to the increase in goods such as Ramatelian rice by 0.8%, maize flour by 7%, duty flour by 6%, fish by 11.5%, sugar by 6.7%, and cement products at 9.7%. If a person is given 100 shillings, approximately 43% of that will be used for food, so they will be more affected if food prices change, which is why inflation rates are significantly affected by this. Tropical Pesticides Research Institute, TPRI, started returning to the countries of origin consignments of fake and expired pesticides, which were smuggled into the country in order to stop turning Tanzania into a dump for such products. Our laboratories test to see if the pesticides being imported are of the required quality. And if they are of substandard quality, there are procedures to be done so that they are returned back to where they were ordered. Ambassadors from member countries of the East African Community in Tanzania have agreed to support the East African Business Council to speed up removal of trade barriers which have hindered economic development in the member states of the community.
Concluded today on a number of things. One, we have seen that we have agreed that intra-EAC trade is very low, and therefore it is very important to come up with mechanisms on how to promote the intra-trade. Currently from 12% to about 40%. So we have agreed on that, and one of the ways we have agreed to do this is to, where there are disputes, how we can use diplomatic channels to resolve some of these disputes. And now they have agreed themselves to be part of this. So in all our meetings where we are having business people B2B from one country to another, we shall be calling, inviting our diplomatic missions.
That's where we leave off with business news. Sports news is up next.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Marquinhos. He did lose some length.
And in sports, Young Africans Sports Club has sacked coach Mwinyi Zahera and his assistants and named Boniface Mkwasa as the interim coach.
We have decided as the managing committee to sack the whole Yanga technical bench. This means that we have parted ways in peace with coach Mwinyi Zahera as well as coach Noel Mwandila. And we are letting go the whole technical bench from the manager to the security guard.
And the government has been urged to ban betting companies that are not licensed, as many engage in fraud.
This is not a joke, and it is not right. We would like to ask the government to deal with those that perform illegal gaming and illegal practices. Companies that have not been registered but are conducting their activities should be acted against because they are performing fraud. Not just to be banned, because here we are talking about our nation's economy.
Jurgen Klopp has suggested Pep Guardiola is fixated with Liverpool, as "my brain is not big enough to think of Premier League rivals in the immediate aftermath of a game." Here is more on this story.
The manager accused Sadio Mane of diving after he was booked for simulation at Aston Villa on Saturday, where he also scored a 94th minute winner that preserved Liverpool's 6-point lead over the champions. Guardiola's allegations came shortly after his team's victory over Southampton, and Klopp, who rejected the criticism of Mane, has questioned how a manager will find time post-match to know not only the result but the final details of another game. Klopp aimed his own dig at City, who faced Liverpool in an eagerly awaited contest at Anfield on Sunday, by claiming he would not mention tactical fouls in his response to Guardiola's comments.
Premier League managers will meet with Mike Riley, the manager of the Professional Game Match Officials Limited, on Thursday to discuss the video assistant referee VAR system. Here is more on this.
Responsible for the country's leading referees will meet the top flight's northern-based managers after sharing views with southern managers last week. The meetings had been planned months ago, it is understood, but following the latest VAR controversies, the meeting on Thursday will include discussions of whether match officials should be allowed to consult pitch-side monitors. Referees in all other competitions that currently use the VAR system are allowed to consult these monitors, but those taking charge of Premier League matches are not.
Ralf Rangnick, Erik ten Hag, Arsene Wenger and Max Allegri are on Bayern Munich's list of candidates to replace Niko Kovac, who left the club after the 5-1 defeat at Eintracht Frankfurt.
The news of Kovac's departure did not come as a great surprise, as he had been under pressure for several weeks, and Saturday's heavy defeat was the last straw for the Bayern hierarchy. Kovac took over from Jupp Heynckes in July 2018 and won the domestic double in his first season in charge. This campaign he did oversee a remarkable 7-2 win at Tottenham in October, but defeats against Hoffenheim and Frankfurt and draws against Hertha Berlin, RB Leipzig and Augsburg meant Bayern fell behind in Bundesliga. They are only 4 points behind the leaders Borussia Mönchengladbach, but performances have been so poor the Bayern board decided to act on Sunday morning.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. My name is Vanessa Victor. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.